fantastic effort by the young men. I thought it was a game where there was different mood swings, different momentum swings, and felt like 1 minute we had control of the game, and the next thing you know, you were back in a football game. You got to take your hat off to Coach Lester, a former Orange in his own right, that was here and did a fantastic job with his football team at Western Michigan. I wouldn't be surprised if that team was right in the middle of the MAC run for a MAC championship. They're really, really good. Their tailback is exceptional. I'm not sure anybody could catch that young man. And then what kind of game would it have been if, they had another young man, they got hurt, number 7, that was playing both ways, offensively and defensively. I mean, if he was still in the game, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened, but I'm excited that we're 2-2 and we're back even. We're not taking anyone for granted. We're not listening to the noise or the media. We're going to take it one game at a time and give everybody the respect that they're due. I got to tell you now, I'm a little disappointed in the turnovers. I thought some of those turnovers were unforced, and we've got to do a better job than that if we're going to be the kind of football team that we want to be. I thought that they were extremely focused and maybe even a little embarrassed about some of the things that had happened recently. I can't tell you how unselfish those guys were. Even during the game, there were things going on, and you just had to decide whether you're going to be a shellfish. I said it the correct way. We call it a shellfish instead of saying selfish. We call it a shellfish. Whether you wanted to be a shellfish or whether you wanted to be a family member, part of the La Familia, part of the Ohana, okay? And I really think they had some moments and they had to decide, and I want to say that they all decided the right way, and they thought about the orange on the front of their chest and not their names on the back. I'm really proud of them about that.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, as always, please share it. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the first Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. Welcome back. We're not going to talk about losing today. We're done with that for a little while, I think. At least a week. So we will talk to you about the Western Michigan game that just happened on Saturday. And man, what a very similar game to last year in many ways. And a good team. I think it's a good team, man. So talking about Western Michigan. So but first, as always, you guys know the deal. So you like betting? Joe likes betting. Joe
every once in a while.
But hey, look, if you're going to do it online, I have a recommendation. Now, I wouldn't be telling you guys about MyBookie if I didn't use them, and if I didn't think they were the best, I wouldn't tell you about them either. So do the smart thing. If you're going to bet on football this season, bet with MyBookie. If you've bet online before and you know what to expect, then you know exactly what MyBookie's all about. If not, research it, see if it's right for you, see if it's something you want to get into. If you don't know about the rollers and all that, just get into that. And with MyBookie, see, if you suck at betting, now I'm not the best bettor, so this will benefit someone like me. If you do not make the right choice after kickoff, you can actually swap your bet in the second half if it looks like your original bet is going to lose. And, who else is going to do that for you other than MyBookie? I don't know anybody, actually. So if you're the kind of guy or gal, too, that likes to bet a little and win a lot, like me, try the parlay. If your picks come through, you'll multiply your winnings, and no matter how you bet, the NFL is the best season of the year. Now, join right now, and MyBookie will double your first deposit now if you use the promo code CHAIR. And when you activate that offer, that's promo code CHAIR, and MyBookie will double your first deposit. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, and you get paid. MyBookie. Thank you. So, anyway. What's so funny, Joe? What's so funny?
You and your anyway. Huh? But anyway.
It's like the MyBookie reads are like, they're like a thing. It's like, give me something new to bite on. That's all. I try to switch it up, but man, it's tough. Hey, look, this was an up-and-down game, as you heard Coach Baber say. DeVito, he netted 85 yards on 9 carries, which is a deceiving stat because of the 3 sacks. Otherwise, he's over 100 yards. And this is a game he needed most to silence some of the petty fans calling for him to be benched. Now, we've been through this and that, and you hear all the cries, but let's be honest. It's ridiculous after 3 games in the season. He took care of the ball throwing, too. He finished 27 for 35, 287 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Tristan Jackson says, "Feed me, Tommy, feed me." 6 receptions for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns. And in my opinion, he's the clear number 1 receiver for this year. And, we kind of talked a lot about that in the offseason. We didn't know, but I don't call things a lot, but I called that. And so I'm just going to brag on it because usually I'm wrong. So basically, I think that's the direction we're heading. But Mo, making up for his lack of rushing yards last week, he finished with 123 and 2 scores. The defense bent, and they bent some more, but they came through at key times. Alton Robertson, he had 6 tackles, including 1 for a loss, one of those a sack, and 5 hurries. The Orange and the Broncos combined for 1,102 yards between the two of them and 85 points. Syracuse giving up 557 of those yards to Western Michigan. Now, the early injury to Eskridge, I think, was a killer for the Broncos, obviously, but you know the saying, if ifs and buts are candy nuts, we all have a Merry Christmas. But despite that, their tailback, Levante Bellamy, 165 yards and 2 long touchdowns. So, I mean, a sloppy game at times, Joe, for the defense, but the Orange, now they stayed pretty healthy last year. That was a huge part of their success. And going into this game, we had injuries to Melifano and Cisco. How much of that do you think could be chalked up on the defensive end to those 2 guys? In Cisco, I mean, one of the best, if not the best in the ACC.
Yeah, that's definitely, when I saw that, especially Cisco, that was a surprise. And I do think that had something to do with the deficiencies on defense, kind of the next man up. And we had a lot of guys that aren't used to putting in those type of minutes, those amount of plays in there that we had to rely on. And I liked what I saw. I mean, they gave up some plays, and that's going to happen because, of course, there was missed tackles. But again, this is a team that does have some explosive players. We saw it last year, and we saw it again this year. But we did take advantage of the turnovers that they gave us, and, our offense had to step up. So we knew that we were going to go against kind of an average defense. So I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know about you, of what I saw from the offense.
From their offense?
No, from our offense against their defense.
Yeah.
I thought that it was just another step. I think that we've seen progression every week if you consider the competition.
Absolutely. Good point.
And then as far as their offense goes, I mean, when you have those type of experienced players, their offensive line, they had experienced players, that running back, I mean, God,
he's a beast, huh?
He's gonna have a chance to go to play in the next level. Their tight end, they talked about it all throughout the telecast, that there were scouts talking about him. He's probably going to have a chance to play at the next level. And like what Baber said, with Dwayne Eskridge going down, who knows what happens? I mean, 2 plays, he already had 2 huge plays, and it looked like he fell down, did something to his collarbone possibly. And
Ricci is the tight end.
Ricci's the tight end, yep. So, yeah, they had playmakers all over the field as far as on offense goes, and you saw Wasink was, for the most part, smart in making the right plays, the right reads, and that's a team, again, that was right there in the MAC last year. They went 7-6, lost to BYU in a bowl game, but I think they had some injury problems there in the middle of the season, and they ended up beating the team that actually won or went into the MAC championship from their division the last game of the season before the bowl game. So they're right there as far as about the best team in the MAC. So that's kind of the game that I thought we were going to see, to be honest.
I
said teenish, when I did my bookie pick, and I thought it was going to be somewhere 13, 14, 15 points by the end of it, and ended up being a little bit more, but I knew it was kind of going to be like last year, high scoring, and it was. I was glad to see that we got ahead, and they had some bad turnovers. Again, we don't know if it has anything to do with the kickoff time or anything, but we did come out and start off 21-0, and we did punch them in the mouth, and that helped. And just overall winning the turnover battle and having timely touchdowns and plays is really what did it for us, man. The fourth down stops.
Well, those fourth down, the one that was reviewed and then marked short, and then they went for it on fourth and missed it. I mean, that was that was crucial.
I think
right
we
there.
stopped them on downs like 3 or 4 times on fourth downs. Those are pretty much like turnovers for the most part. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was all in the fourth quarter too. So, the muffed punt, obviously field position huge there.
Right.
But
the fumble going into the touchdown.
That was
going to be a touchdown.
That was a huge miscue, and that was just unfortunate for them. It was an unforced turnover, right. And he was just trying to grip the ball to hold it out. He's reaching for the goal line, right. And he just gripped a little bit too awkwardly and squeezed it right out of his own hand.
It's the little things. It's the little things. And honestly, that game to me, it kind of felt like a last year's game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we scored the amount of points. We gave up some points, and it kind of felt like not just Western. Like it felt like a lot of those games last year where it could have went either way. That team could have beat us on Saturday if they didn't have those turnovers, and the turnovers went the other way. If they get a couple more yards here and there. So that was a lot of the games last year where basically coaching and not making as many mistakes, being more disciplined and maybe, having good special teams, those kind of things. That's what won us those games. It wasn't because we were that much better than these other teams. So to see us put up those points on offense against a team like that, and then to see our defense without those starters, I mean, realistically, we're down 3 starters, right? I mean, you're down Cisco, you're down Melifuanu, and you're down McKinley Williams still. That's 3 defensive starters.
Yeah.
And to see them hold up, and especially, Eric Coley at the end, get the interception he got. Aaron Hackett on offense, making the plays that he made with touchdowns.
Yeah, 6 receptions for Aaron Hackett. I think that's a high for him.
Yeah, I mean, you knew what Tristan
yards.
Jackson could do. Yeah. I mean, he just came out and did it. He came out fired up after the second half. And, the other thing, too, with this is it wasn't in bunches. If you look at the scoring throughout quarters, it was 14 points, 10 points, 14 points, 14 points. It was steady throughout the whole game. So it wasn't just the 28 points in a quarter and then all of a sudden, we got blanked or we got stopped. So there's a lot of things to look for positives and everything. And honestly, based upon last week, that's what we were looking for, man, right? Like we just didn't want anything crazy because we knew that there was going to be a bunch of negativity if we ended up losing this game. And yeah, there is still a little bit of negativity, but that's going to start going away. Goes away next week when we go 3-2, get our guys healthy. And then realistically, we should be all full, like all goes. Everyone should be healthy come NC State. We should get the bye. No more excuses at that point. At that point, we should be ready to go.
Once you get past Clemson, you might as well just wait till NC State, right? I'm talking about the injuries. On the injury front, once you get past...
Well, yeah, you didn't play this week. Yeah, you didn't play this week, right.
Yeah.
So
just
even Cisco and them. I mean, if it's McKinley Williams or Sam Heckel, and they're 100% and you want to get them a drive or two just to knock some rust off, okay, so be it. But don't have them out there all game. Use this as a game to give some more experience to the young guys, grow your depth, and then you have a whole week.
What did you...
Obviously, you bring your starters in, do what you need to do for a little while, but hopefully this is a game of growing depth, no injuries, allow people to get healthy, and just another week to learn,
Yeah, absolutely. What did you think about the officiating? I didn't hear a ton about it, but I just remember during the game, like, holy flags, man! Just like, I mean, the pass interference.
It was a tight game.
I mean, it was, but I mean,
I thought it was. There was a lot of flags, and it definitely lengthened the game. But at the end of the day, I thought it was pretty consistent, and I think they were, and I think they were on their game. They were on point pretty much for the most part.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think they were tight on their calls. They were a little stringent on the calls. I think in both. I'm talking about both ways. I'm not just talking about just my side. I'm talking about both sides. Probably could have let them play a little bit more and not stop.
You're just saying that because you wanted the game to end sooner so you could take some calls.
Yes, you went out to Richmond. This is true.
I mean, come on.
This is true. This is true, Joe. It is. But I mean, come on.
This is a lot of stoppage, right, bro.
There's a little bit. It's a little bit. But that was
Don't you swing your orange highlighter at me.
You like that?
No.
Look. It's a little bit of a personal agenda, but let's be honest, dude. 3 hours and 45 minutes to play a college football game. Oh my gosh, come on!
I get it. There's
That's
longer.
a long freaking time. I know, but this is like, yeah. I mean, so whatever. So anyway, Syracuse, they had the 18th consecutive game with a takeaway. That's the third best mark for FBS. And you mentioned Eric Coley, fourth quarter interception, redshirt sophomore from FM. That's right.
But it's kind of, it's up in the air. His dad, or I believe his stepdad is the defensive tackle coach. So I think when he got the job here, he ended up moving from wherever they were, and that's kind of where he ended up playing at FM.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, though.
Still, it's still cool.
He was dominant at FM up in Syracuse. I remember I seen some of the scores. They were pretty good that year, and he put
Hornet,
up stats.
Right?
He played both ways, so he was,
The FM Hornets. They were green and white.
White.
Yeah. Okay, and another notable, Sean Riley is now Syracuse all-time leader in kickoff numbers and returned and yards. 107 returns in a career for 2,299. He surpasses none other than Quadri Ismail, which is crazy. Gosh, you remember Quadri Ismail, bro?
I definitely do.
He took 105 kickoffs for 2,290 yards from 89 to 92. That's crazy, man.
Well, the game wasn't as fast, and the defense was better back then. He probably didn't return as many on average anyway. So Sean Riley's been the kickoff returner for almost 4 years, and we've been scored upon quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
that's a good point.
But can we talk about the fact that the attendance? Do you read about that?
We can touch up on it. I didn't look that bad from the TV, but when I saw pictures, I guess you could strategically point cameras in.
Yeah, but 40.
40.
They said it. They announced the attendance is 40,000.
Oh well, I think that's really good.
One of the. Yeah, I think that's great too. But did it look like we had 40,000?
No.
On TV?
No, not at all.
No.
It looked like maybe 20, maybe 25, 30, but not 40.
No.
What's up with that?
It was disheartening.
Well, a lot of the tickets are already sold.
To see it packed like the week before, and then just to see it like that the very next week.
Yeah, I know.
But the thing is, the worst thing is I feel like it didn't even matter whether we would have won or we would have lost. I feel like it wouldn't have mattered.
Against Clemson, you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we would have beat Clemson, I feel like people would be like,
there would be more people there.
Just Western Michigan, I'm not going to go.
No, there'd be more people there.
I don't feel like spending the money.
No, I disagree.
It's Military Appreciation Day, people.
Yeah, come on. Jeez, that's right.
Unbelievable.
Look, I know it wasn't.
I was disappointed.
I was a little disappointed too.
As a veteran, I was disappointed.
But I wasn't. Yeah, but Joe, honestly, and I'm not fan bashing here, okay, or anything of the sort. But honestly, Joe, did you expect another packed house?
I was hoping.
I didn't see it coming. No way.
Obviously.
I was surprised that we broke 50,000 for Clemson. Now, I know it was huge, but after you look back at Maryland and you go into Clemson, you're like, I don't know, man. It was iffy. But, they came through. They were loud, and they stayed for, at least half the game. So
awesome.
I don't know.
I'm so bitter because I'm not there.
I'm bitter too, bro. We kind of hit on this last week, right?
Because I would love to be able to go to these games.
I know, and I just see
for $10 friggin' on StubHub.
Yeah, I know, and you see it. You see these, and let's be honest. Season tickets are not like. They're expensive, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they're not expensive, but they're reasonable.
Maybe basketball.
They're reasonable.
I can understand if you're going to say basketball.
Yeah, but football's really reasonable. Like, you can go to all 6 football games.
Very, very reasonable.
Yeah.
For Power 5, yes, very reasonable.
Basketball's another story, but you also have, how many more games? You know what I'm saying? So,
it's just like, dude, there's 6 games a year.
I know. 6 in Syracuse, guys. I explained this last time. Now, I don't suspect that anybody listening that is going to download this podcast and listen to this podcast is not going to try to get to every game. Like, that's just not.
I understand.
So we're not. We're preaching to the choir here, though, Joe.
Things pop up. I get it.
But we're preaching to the choir. So anybody within earshot of our voice probably is going to these games if they live in Syracuse, is my point. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
We're not changing minds here, but I understand. I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from because you take it for granted when you're there. And I went over this last time. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but trust me, man. When you don't have it, you regret not being able to do it as much as you could have when you had the opportunity. So anyway, Joe.
Yes.
Is that it? Do you have anything else to say about Western Michigan?
No, I'm fine.
Wasink, man. Wasink.
We did what we had to do.
I was thoroughly impressed with Wasink, man. He's a good quarterback,
solid.
dude. Yeah.
He had to get the ball out, though. I'll tell you what.
Yes,
if
he
would have
did.
held it any sooner in a couple.
Yeah.
Whew,
yeah, and there was a couple. Alton Robinson
coming.
should have had 3 sacks, not 1. Because he had him like, oh my gosh.
I thought he had
him.
2 sacks.
No, I think it was 1.
2.5.
I think it was 1. I don't
Either
have
way,
it in
he
front
was
of me.
he was. They talked about it. You heard it if you listened to it. He was in the backfield all game.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. So, anyways, that's it. You know what time it is.
It's time to hear from you. The loudmouths from the Loud House. The best damn college sports fans in the nation.
You guys know the deal. You know the deal. So you go to @Cuse Militia on Facebook and Twitter, and you check it out. And usually we propose a question at the end of every game to give your thoughts, and then you give them. It's amazing. And then we read them. But what we're trying to do at the end of every game is to take your calls. Now, this didn't happen because the game ran way past the allotted time.
The refs threw too many flags.
The game ran way too long. I had to go watch Martin Truex Jr. take the boys out behind the woodshed last night in Richmond. So, not that anybody cares, but I'm going to throw it out there.
Yep.
Spin and win. Spin and
I was
win.
happy. Hey, look, I was happy for you, all right?
Thank you.
And he won me some money in DraftKings, so
Did he?
I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, but before we get into all of your fan comments, look, here's the deal, man. If you ain't performing in bed, there's no excuse for this anymore, Joe. Okay? Because
I don't know why you're talking to me.
all you gotta do, if you want to increase your performance and get extra confidence in bed, is go to Blue Chew. That's blue like the color. BlueChew.com. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know it works. You can take them anytime, day or night, on a full or empty stomach, and since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as the pill. And that means you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. If you could benefit from extra function and more confidence when it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Most guys talk a good game, but Blue Chew helps you follow through. Blue Chew is prescribed online and ships straight to your door in a discreet package, so there is no in-person doctor's visits, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no awkwardness in front of a female nurse who's asking you a bunch of questions about your flaccidness. So, they're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use a special promo code ARMCHAIR. Just pay the $5 shipping for 6 pills. Again, that's BLUE Chew.com. Promo code ARMCHAIR. Try it for free. Blue Chew is cheaper, better, faster choice. And we thank them for sponsoring the podcast. Remember, they do not promise guaranteed results, and it does not say anywhere in there that it will cure a disease. So don't be silly. Now, join my bookie right now, and they will double your first deposit if you use the promo code CHAIR, CHAIR, to activate that offer. That's promo code CHAIR. Double your first deposit. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid. All right. So, fan feedback. Would have loved to take your calls. Sorry.
Just throw that word around.
What? Flaccidness?
If that even is a word, yes, that's the one I was referring to.
I apologize. It's not funny. It's not funny. Look, here's the deal. Facebook.
Yeah, we got it. Blue Chew. Yeah, we heard the whole spiel. Oh, okay.
No,
I thought you were going to go back
yet.
into that again.
No, I'm not going there yet. So,
Okay.
Facebook and Twitter, I picked. I got 8 of them. There was a lot of really good ones. I was pressed for time, and I know that some of these might take a minute to get through. So, Josh on Facebook says, saw a lot of positives offensively. Run game was established and early, which opened up the passing game, which is what this offense is based on. I like seeing the RPO in the first half, but felt they abandoned it a little bit in the second. D giving up 500 plus through 3 quarters was concerning, but held them to only 52 yards in the fourth quarter, along with 2 huge fourth down stops. Have faith in Dino. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
The RPO was fantastic, and that's, I mean, we haven't seen that from DeVito.
No, well, we talked about it.
Well, you and I talked about it personally. Like, what is the RPO without the R? It's just a PO.
Yeah, I think that there was definitely throughout the last couple of weeks, most likely, Dino Babers basically saying, "Hey, look, you don't have to be Eric Dungy, but when they open up,
you got to go.
When they spread the Red Sea for you, you have to go."
And there's probably a lot of tape, right, Joe? There's probably some tape where Dino's like, "Look, man, look at this."
Yeah. Oh, the first 3 games, I'm sure there was times where he probably should have done it, and again, that first one almost looked like it was set up. That first one with the fake pitch and he ran because there were some guards that looked almost like a set-up play. That wasn't like a option type thing. I think we were coming out and we were, like we said, trying to show different elements and trying to get a run game. I told you, like, we didn't have the last – you really can't – it's hard to compare and really get a lot out of Clemson. You can learn from Clemson just by playing them, but, when a lot of times when you look at tape, it's more or less like, you didn't do anything wrong. That guy's just better than you.
Yeah, it's just a talent level.
But when it comes to Maryland and some of these other teams, you can see, and we talked about the game flow of Maryland and them scoring 6 out of the first 7 possessions. That changes the way that you have to play. That totally goes – when you're going into a game, you have a game plan. And when you go down that fast, you have to completely abort that game plan for the most part once you get to a certain time period. So for us to be able to go in there and actually get the running game going and actually be in a normal type game flow, with the team going back and forth, and albeit our defense wasn't great, but we talked about they had an experienced offense, and for the guys that we were missing, I thought that our defense, again, gained some experience, gained some confidence, and learned a lot and came together. Those games are only going to grow depth. Now that depth has a full game experience. They have confidence and a full game experience against a decent offense.
That's right. Lester says it was a solid game. Many will say TD was much better, which he was. He still needs to work on downfield plays. 80% of his completions were likely on the screens. I mean, that might be a little hyperbolic. But he had 1 long TD, but even that was a bit underthrown. Overall, fun game. What do you say, Lester? Got anything for Lester?
Well, I do agree somewhat to the screens, except for I don't really mind them, but you have to be able to take advantage of that. He's got a strong enough arm to get him out there, and you saw it just with like Tristan Jackson, just that the way that he that touchdown he had where he stiff-armed those guys, it was because he was coming back towards the line of scrimmage, and that guy, the corner that was guarding him, was out of position, and then he made a play, and I mean those things they open things up, and it's basically like a run play. For the most part, you're throwing it across, and if you can get the right blocking to work, then those plays can be crucial for you. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was wondering where they were the first 3 weeks, because we used to run them all the time last year.
Yeah, with
Eric Dungy and everything like that. So I'm glad we got them back, and I'm also glad that we got Aaron Hackett involved with some of those things. And
the shovel pass was beautiful. He went in there untouched, and no one even saw it coming.
Yeah.
So.
Like I said, we're trying to figure out the identity of this offense, and I think we saw some little things that got put in this week that I think are going to be able to work, and that I think our offense is confident with running.
Yeah, and I will say 2 things. Well, the one thing on the screens, they were Tommy DeVito was thrown off his heel on these, and he's.
Well, it depends on what type of screens you're talking about. The wide receiver screens are one thing.
No,
the running back screens, like you said.
Yeah,
I am 100. If I had a scale of 100% of how confident I am with him throwing those passes, I would probably say 97.
97. because he's putting beautiful touch on those, dude. He's lofting them right over the line, right where they should be, and dinking them right in on the back heel. He's got the pressure coming, and
as long as your
unfazed.
offensive line don't get in the way, then you're good.
Yeah, but he's got the arc on the ball. He knows what he's doing. Mike says fans didn't show up. Stands were empty. Fairweather fans are missing. TD finally had time to throw. D needs to play a full 4 quarters. So
it doesn't sound like 40K to me.
And Mike was there. Mike was there. I know he was there because he's got season tickets, and I know Mike personally. So. I mean, but right. Yeah. And plus, you see not only do we get Joe, I mean, if you're on social media, you don't just get the camera angles from TV. You see social media posts. Like, it was bare. But, Fairweather fans,
like
I mean,
TV,
it's apple picking season, right? We haven't made any apple picking jokes yet this year, Joe. We missed
that was over with.
Is it? Well, it could.
I don't know.
It could be, but we didn't make any state fair jokes either. So.
Yeah, because we didn't need to.
I know, because they were on the road. So that's why. So anyway, yeah, look, it is what it is. You know, I would be willing to bet the Holy Cross game probably not going to draw a huge crowd either. Right, exactly. Steve on Facebook says defense not present today allowed over 500 yards. If Western Michigan had not hurt themselves early, it may have been different. He's talking about Eskridge there. Eskridge, they went to him for the first 3 plays in their first offensive drive.
I think he's talking a little bit about that, but also
the penalties,
about hurting themselves with their own turnovers and some of those other things. I mean,
yeah, they had some bad penalties too.
Muffing the punt and that guy, like I said, fumbling going into the end zone. I mean, if he keeps control of that ball and stretches out, then that's a touchdown that play. You know what I mean? So like, and he had some good plays, but I don't know. I would disagree a little bit with the defense when you realistically look at it, with you missing 2 of your starters and playing against an offense like that. And realistically, even last year, we talked about it. We weren't top 10 in holding teams to yardage or anything like that. We were a bend but don't break. We were turnovers, timely sacks, things like that.
Oh, timely sacks,
and that's what we did. And that's what we did, and that was exactly what we did this game. And that's what we've done. That's what we did all year last year to win games. So it doesn't matter how many yards you give up. If they fumble the ball, or they give it up to you, or you stop them on 4 fourth downs, and they end up having 3 turnovers. I mean, doesn't matter how many yards. It's the points at the end. So
yeah,
it's really all you can really look at it. You know, bend but don't break. You can give up 80 yards every possession, every drive. But if they turn the ball over, if they don't get points at the end of it, then you're a pretty good defense.
Yeah, absolutely. If not now, when 84. Wish I was watching, but I'll take at Matt Park 1 calling the game all day. Mm-hmm. Offense looked a little better. Wish we kept with DeVito run attack more. Defense looked a little shaky, but played well enough against a good MAC team. Start the momentum train. Go Cuse. So, yeah, this is the beginning of excuse me, the beginning of, you know, an almost gimme next week. Now, I don't think anything's a gimme, and I don't even like saying that really.
No.
But, you know, I mean, Holy Cross, we'll see what happens, obviously. But then you got the week off. We're looking at returning probably everybody that's...
You never know when God's involved.
That's true. They could be praying the rosary right now. Who knows? Who knows? You know, you don't know what's going to happen there until the game's played, but you get the week off after that, likely heading into NC State, Joe. I mean, you could have the full roster back, basically.
Yeah, and that's realistically what you're looking at.
That's the momentum train right there.
Yeah, that's the ebbs and the flows like we talked about with the season. You looked at it earlier. I mean, the sky was falling when we lost to Maryland. You know, that's just, and we've seen it, right? And then now you get a team that's a pretty solid team that could definitely beat you if you don't show up. And to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, ACC team's probably a little bit deeper, but I mean, they're kind of similar to what you're going to see with Western Michigan, or what kind of game you're going to get. I mean, maybe not. They're probably going to be better defenses, maybe better lines, guys in the trenches and stuff, but that's a good offense. I'd be willing to bet that Western Michigan's got some better offenses than some offenses in the ACC right now.
I would buy that.
I watched Miami Central Michigan. Okay, I've watched some of these games, so that's really what we're looking at. Again, the people that thought that we were going to go into the college football playoff or we were going to pass Clemson, newsflash, no one's passing Clemson while Trevor Lawrence is their quarterback. Okay, I'm just going to let everybody know this.
ETN is the running back.
Well, ETN could go to the pros this year, but Trevor Lawrence will be back next year.
Yeah,
but like I said, again, at the end of the day, it's being the number 2. Right now, to me, I want to be that number 2 in the ACC. I want to be that dominant team that say, okay, they can give Clemson a game, but that's definitely the next best team in the ACC. That's what I want. And then we can go from there, because then that's when the recruits are going to show up.
Well, that's not what I want. I'll take it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm just saying, you have to, everything is, it just doesn't, you don't just build the world in a damn day. Rome wasn't built in a day. You just have to figure that stuff out. But, right now we're in a perfect position to where we have 18 days with a game against a D1 AA school in a bye week before we go on the road against a team that we definitely could beat on the road. And that's just the next step. We can go 4-2, and then we can start that momentum up. And like you said, again, we could go in there fully healthy with guys that we've been missing for the whole season.
And by the way, I forgot to mention this, and I'm not trying to go on a tangent or anything, but I'm going to anyway. I watched this on ESPN Plus. What'd you watch it on? ACC Network?
ACC Network.
Okay. I don't know where the hell the ACC Network is on DirecTV. If anyone knows, and if you could tell me, I'd appreciate it. But I watched. But the reason I don't know and I don't care is because I have ESPN Plus. Now I have openly bashed the ESPN Watch app, which sucked. It was horrible. It's terrible. But this ESPN Plus app is pretty good, dude. It's pretty good.
Oh, you liked it? It was a little bit better for you?
It's way better. Why are you being snarky right now?
What? I'm just saying. I like the ACC Network.
I don't know where it is. You got Spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got DirecTV, so I don't know where it is. But if anyone could help me out with that, I don't think DirecTV has it. So the ESPN app, the ESPN Plus
Pretty
app,
sure they thought they did, but
I thought I did.
Can't you search channels?
Yeah, dude. Their format sucks.
Do you even technology?
I don't. I don't. The only thing I know how to work is this stupid mixer board and going through Twitter. I
don't know how to do that.
Yeah, well, we all know. I think everybody has picked up on the fact that you have no idea. So please spare me. At DFin01, offense looked better, albeit against a mediocre to bad defense. We might have to get healthy going into ACC play. The injuries are affecting the play on both sides of the ball. Yeah, well, unfortunately I picked this before. Once again, we just hit on that. So, the defense though,
I don't
think they weren't terrible. And if Eskridge was in there, we don't know what it looks like with Eskridge in there. So
apparently, I don't think Western Michigan will for a couple weeks.
It looked like a clavicle
or a month.
Looked like a clavicle.
That's what it looked like to me.
Right?
That's what I said. I'm like, man, 2 plays in a row. We're pissed off. We're out here breaking clavicles.
I mean, when you see the limp arm. That's
dude, it was 2 right shoulders, 2 plays in a row, 2 starters. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
First Eskridge, then the tight end. I was like, ah.
Yeah, it was ugly. So when you land on someone like that and they're on their side, that's usually how it happens.
It's all about angles and, weight putting on it.
Yep. At Oil Cuse, loved seeing the offense move the ball. The O-line was decent, which is huge. The defense needs to wrap up and tackle a whole lot better. Well, that's the truth. I think we got hosed on a couple of PI calls on both offense and defense. Need Cisco and Iffy back for NC State. So, yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the good news is, Captain Patrick, is that I think we will get them back. I don't think there's a question about that. But the PI calls, that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. I mean, it's just really tough because you don't know what it is anymore. Like, I don't feel like I know what it is anymore. Like, what's the gray area? Is it black and white? What's going on? I have no idea. No one's explained it to me.
Yeah.
So, right?
Like, they did play it tight, but I thought they missed a couple. I thought that Taj Harris, they had a hold there that they missed, and I thought there was one that they called on us that shouldn't have been called. Another one where I think some feet got tangled. So, yeah.
The feet tangled one, dude. That was terrible.
Well, and that's tough because it looked like the receiver slowed down so that the
He ran
so
into
that our
him.
guy, so that Trill could run into him, and it just looked a lot worse than what it was.
Well, I think they were both looking at the ball, and then, I mean, they were both. I mean, it's not like Trill was like running into the guy. He wasn't even looking at him. He's just running with him, and their feet got turned.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah. Well, no, I thought that comment was funny though, because he was like, the offensive line.
I heard you laughing.
The offensive line played decent, which is huge, and it's like, oh, it's, it's huge that they played decent. Like that's how we're looking at this offensive line.
That's a great point. I didn't even pick up on that, but it's true.
Right. Yeah. That's how bad they've been. And just
but
to
that's
see
why they
like
stuck
what
Chris Elmore in there.
Tommy could do with them playing decent.
We saw a lot of Chris Elmore, and that's why.
Right.
I mean,
Hackett too. And
yeah,
I think there's a lot of the, where I think we might have to spare some of these spread, full wide, 4 or 5 wide, and bring in, Elmore and Hackett, both of them if we have to. The good thing is that we are very versatile. I mean, we've seen a lot of different things that we can do, and hopefully they can figure out what works best for Tommy and then what works best. And hopefully that list is long, and then we end up being able to pick and choose against our matchups. And, that's where you want to get by the end of the year. But I'll tell you what, by the time we get to NC State, let's hope that our offensive line is just average and not decent. Let's just get the average.
Yeah, but you know what? If we can be happy about decent right now, I'll be happy about decent. It's okay.
Yeah, we can be happy about decent against Western Michigan.
Yeah,
we're not going to be able to be happy with decent against NC State at NC State.
Absolutely. At Tony Staffieri says, we can blame injuries, but defense that has developed in a hold on. We can blame injuries, but a defense that has developed an identity would overcome them. If there's indeed NFL talent, it needs to surface soon. So.
And they did overcome them.
They did. But, I mean,
you can't expect.
You got to look at the.
We won by 19 points. What do you want?
21.
But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, our defense is always giving up stuff, and I think we had injuries, and I thought that those guys did step up and they made the plays when they needed to. They did,
and that was huge. I mean, the unforced turnovers.
I mean, the way that Cordy stepped up.
Cordy did a great job. He had a forced fumble.
Play after play.
Yeah, a lot of tackles.
Frederick held him down. Scoop Bradshaw played he had some good plays. Alan Strichinger had some good plays. Evan Foster had some good hits, some bad angles sometimes, but some good hits. And
you hate his angles. You hate his angles.
That's literally that is going to stop him from being an NFL player. I hate it. I hate it for him. But it is what it is. Even the one touchdown that bounced to the outside, he went inside and then couldn't catch him around the outside. And it was just like, if you would have went outside, you would have pushed it right back in, dude, and would have scored a touchdown. Like, just things like that. The one play where you saw 3 seniors miss tackles, and that kind of stuff, again, is disheartening, but you hope that you can clean that stuff up. And I believe this game last year was the Clemson game, in which we had a bunch of missed tackles, and the very next week with Pittsburgh, we had a bunch of missed tackles. So we started figuring out halfway through the year, and hopefully this is going to be the end of it, because they did have some slippery play. That running back is no joke.
Yeah, and he's wicked fast too. He's wicked fast,
dude. Once he got past the first,
once he got into the second level, bro, he was tough.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. As soon as he could get away, as soon as he could get to a point where he could run away from you getting a hand on him, he was gone. Like, every time.
Yeah.
So it was frustrating. But again,
what was his long? 47 yards. He averaged 11 yards a carry. 15 carries for 165 yards.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
it's almost like, why didn't you feed him the ball more? I mean, I know they were down, but still. Right.
So, like, right now with those guys, I mean, again, those are guys that are supposed to come in and give us depth when our starters are tired, or, you need to give them a series or something like that. And these guys are playing double, triple what they normally do. So it changes everything. So there's a lot of new faces that we saw out there. So, again, you just hope that it helps toward the experience, but we definitely have to be healthy, and I think we will be by the time we hit North Carolina State.
Yeah, so that, I think, wraps it up, and let's look forward to that. Holy Cross coming in. We will try to get back here Tuesday, Wednesday. Be on the lookout. We'll I'll just have to check the schedule, the family schedule, Tuesday or Wednesday, and Joe's softball schedule. Softball. So,
whatever, bro.
That's it. Thank you to MyBookie. Thank you to Blue Chew. Thank you to Armchair Media. Thank you to all of you who participated and on social media. We love you guys. We really appreciate it. Congratulations to Syracuse Waterboy, by the way, at Cuse Waterboy on Twitter. I'm going to give him a shout out real quick. I meant to do this earlier, but he's out there doing his thing on the field now, Joe. Did you see him?
No.
Oh, he was out there in the field, man. He had the flag. He was standing in front of the stands, trying to get that ozone pumped up. Why the ozone? Why? I get it, orange zone. I get it, but why? Stupid.
Because of the climate
that is
and stuff. It all comes full circle, Sean.
Gosh.
It all comes full circle.
We started this conversation off the air about climate. I'm not even going to get into it. All right. Hey.
All
right.
Man.
That's all I got. I'm done. Look, thanks,
great.
guys. We appreciate it. Thanks to James on guitar. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.